Oh, hey. It's another day in my bedroom, and things have deteriorated. I did go to the church bake sale and I picked up a couple things, and I figured after the amazing response that was completely in my head, that I would keep reviewing season 15. It's a blast, and I need something to keep my mind off of everything. I do think if my therapist found my first video, he would have grounds to commit me against my will. But hopefully, if I keep making videos, I will have the grounds for an eventual insanity plea for any crimes that I may have committed. Um, Between now and then, what have I learned? I've learned how to steal things, and I stole editing software. How incredible. The second thing I learned how to do is kind of edit. I need everyone to be nice to me. I'm gonna try and edit in images so people actually know what I'm talking about when I'm discussing Rupaul's Drag Race. I'm out here trying my best. I literally became a thief to do this, to put on a wig and tell my opinions to 3 people. So I'm in the trenches and I want everyone to respect that. I made notes this time because I'm really like kind of in my professional era. So without further ado, I kind of thought we could just jump into it. So the first thing we see is Selena coming in reading the mirror message of Spice, who is now deceased. Rest in peace, Spice. It wasn't too exciting. Am I the only one that thought like when Spice was leaving, she was gonna be like, by the way, I was sugar the entire time, and like gagged? Even if that wasn't true, I would have just said that. Who would know the difference? But instead, like, we got our twin moment in RuPaul's Drag Race, and they immediately broke them up. We got no like twin switcheroo shenanigans, and they were awful. So I don't know. And Marsha makes this comment that's like, oh my god, I see like 3 canned bits in the mirror message. And if you guys are following like Spice and Sugar on Twitter, like they hate that. So I bet Marsha, look out, Marsha. The TikTok girlies, they're coming for you. They heard what you said about their queens, and I would sleep with one eye open. Moving on, other notable stuff that happens like before they announce the challenge. Lux, okay, maybe this is something like other people like understand, but Lux is like, oh, Sasha, you peed on the stage. And I was like, she did? Like, oh my god, she's getting old. But no, like, I guess that's like just like a thing people say. Or like maybe Lux was like coming out as like a piss queen. Can I say that? But like, I mean, we've got Loosey with her little poop bag. We've got Lux like giving golden showers. I don't know what's happening this season. This isn't a Christian show. This isn't wholesome or approved. And then my favorite part, we get to Loosey completely showing that she has lost touch with reality and she is exiting her loose era and now entering her extremely tight era. When Sasha's like talking about her wins, Lucy's like, well, I've won 3. I've won 3 challenges. 2 of them were mini challenges, which like famously don't count. And I think everyone knows that. And I think she knows that. But she does decide to just like do this thing that everyone has said like multiple times, like, oh, Lucy, you should stop complaining about being safe. And she's like, okay. And then she'll just do it like every week, which I kind of love. No hate to Lucy. I love it. And I think it's like half edit, but like also you had to give them this material. So like don't blame it completely on the edit. And God, do you think like, since I know they had to cut down the episodes so much, and like thinking back, like the only mini challenges we've seen are the ones that Loosey like won basically. And I think they kept those in specifically because they wanted this moment to hurt that much more. Like they wanted to back up that delusional edit and be like, yeah, she's crazy. And I ate that up. I was like, yeah, she is crazy. Like, let's keep pushing her until something bad happens. And Spoiler alert, we certainly do. And then Marcia, watching whatever's happening to Loosey, she looks at that and she's like, oh, I want a piece of that. And she also asserts that she's clinically insane and thinks that she should have been in the top. I don't know where that came from, but that's fun for her. I think it's fun to always have goals and aspirations, so good for her. And then my final comment will always be about Anitra, because everything I do in life is for Anitra. But I just love the way she never participates in drama, but like, she's always gobbling it up. How many times are the girls fighting and you just see Anitra in the background like she's all of us. She gets it, she gets the assignment, and I just appreciate her presence on the show. So then we get to see like a little bit of the girls like talking in their groups, figuring out how they want to do things. Nothing super notable happens here, but I loved a few moments. There was one where Selena was like, yeah, like I want to do the sit down interview in my group because like I have a lot to prove. And then Mistress, being the girl that she is, just like turns to Selena. She's like, yeah, that's really true. Like you do have a lot to prove. Like, I'm glad you're aware. So like, again, I eat up everything Mistress puts out for us. She really is that girl. And then there was this one moment with the camera where Selena, Sasha and Marcia, they were talking about the guest like Charo, who has a thick accent, and they're like, yeah, I wonder if it's going to be like difficult to understand someone with a thick accent, something like that. But then the camera just like cuts to Selena and zooms in, and I was like, are they saying no one can understand Selena? Why did it cut to Selena? She wasn't involved. I was just like, okay, I don't know who that was for. And then like that conversation continues, and I feel like there's like a very like palpable fear of having Marcia like interact with somebody that has an accent. And I was like, okay. Is that our conflict? Marcia interacts with somebody with an accent? That's fine. I'll take it. And yeah, that's like the most interesting stuff that happens before the actual challenge. So we can move right along into that. The Selena Lux Mistress group starts off first. They are interviewing Love Connie, who is, from what I can tell, a drag queen. Again, I don't know any of these people. I don't know anyone from pop culture. That's just who I am. Maybe I knew them at one point. But my mind is deteriorating, and so is my emotional state. So I don't know who they are. And Selena's the first one to go, and they have like the sit-down interview with Love Connie. It is, again, my hope to not be like cringed out was immediately ruined with the first interview. I don't even think Selena maybe did anything wrong. Like, Love Connie was really just kind of like monologuing, and everyone kind of warned the queens that like Love Connie was going to do that. And I think Selena got a bit in her head, and she was just kind of sitting there like emoting to everything Love Connie was saying. She was like, and I was like, oh, that's really scary. I wish she would stop that. It looked like she was having like I don't know, like a medical emergency. But the times she does speak, like during the one time that Love Connie was having a coherent thought, Selena's like, it's my time. I'm going to interrupt you with a random question that makes no sense. And then Love Connie looked unhappy, which probably looked like the audience at the time, and we moved on. So moving along to Lux, her interview was not a sit down. It took place in a golf cart, which I think is like sick and twisted because legally gay people can't drive. But like Love Connie's in the driver's seat, and the gag is like that she's putting pedal to the metal, and she's going and fast and furious, and the edit makes it look like they're going like 500 miles per hour, but then it zooms out to like a wide angle, and they're hitting like maybe 2. Like, I could power walk ahead of them easily. And like, I don't get it, because they're like driving around a parking lot, and I don't think Lux asks, Lux asks one question, and the question is, what's your favorite food? And then the rest of the interview is is just them like driving and screaming. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Like, good job. Maybe that was like high art and I didn't get it, but I was like, I thought you were supposed to ask her a question. Well, you know what? She did. She did ask a question. Good job. Was that better than Selena? I don't know. It was different. But being different shouldn't always be celebrated. And that's my thought on that. And then we move on to Mistress and Connie, which I think was the worst of the three somehow. In this one, they're like doing an interview while cooking, and Connie had scat on the mind, and I'm so tired. We got Loosey, the scat princess now, because she got dethroned. We've got Lux, the pea queen, and now Love Connie, the poo-poo queen. They're like frosting cupcakes, and the frosting is brown, and like Love Connie wants everyone to know that she has like bowel problems. She's like, oh girl, like I'm eating this prolapse, I'm eating the poo-poo, I'm frosting these cupcakes with my poop, and I'm like, wow. I hate everything that you say. Maybe that's why Lux didn't ask any questions. She knew what she would get. But Mistress is kind of taken aback. Like maybe Mistress is a pea queen and she's like, whoa, I'm out of my depth. I don't know how to handle this. But like Mistress literally just like stands there in silence and just lets Love Connie monologue about poop, which I think was the worst thing that could happen. So we are 3 for 3 in interviews that cringed me out. And it's up in the air whether or not I'll ever be happy again. So that was good. After Love Connie is Charo, who I was not familiar with, but I loved her energy. Sasha's the one to start for the group, and Charo's just like literally like bouncing around. How much can I bounce for you two? And she calls herself like Chef Coochie. What does that mean? Does she like cook with her cooch? I don't know. I would like to see that though. And the interview is like really sweet. I think Sasha does a good job. Sasha like starts out being pretty serious, but then when she realizes like, oh, this person's just gonna like do what they're gonna do, and the interview is not going how I want, she just like threw her cards up in the air and embraced the chaos, and I think that's what got her points. She did a good job like balancing like being off the wall and also just like, you know, managing the guest as much as you can. Charo talks about opening her legs and getting pregnant. I relate to that as a teenager, like much further than you would expect. I thought people got pregnant by peeing on other people. So like me personally as a man, I had a fear about like going to the public restroom and getting pregnant. And this story is just to illustrate that sex education is really important for teenagers. So they don't think that as a man, they're gonna get pregnant by going to a public restroom. Should I take that out? Anyway, Marcia goes next, and Marcia's interview, listen. The girls who were like, I don't know if Marcia should talk to someone with an accent. I was like, wow, don't put that on Marcia. And then like, as the interview started, I was like, I don't know if Marcia should talk to someone with an accent. Their fears were well-founded, and it was true. Marcia had no idea what Charo was saying, and it was so awkward. And then, like, the interview gave us, like, nothing, except at the end, Charo does come out as a colonizer, stating that she was on the ship with Christopher Columbus, and she expressed a desire to eat his Christopher Columbusy. I don't know. She was like, I'm into that. And I was like, wow, where did they find these people? I don't know, but that was special. Marcia didn't bring out that information. Nobody asked for it, but Charo was like, I am going to say this, and everyone's just gonna have to be okay with that. I don't know. Good for her. Then finally, we have Frankie Grande, who is apparently the brother of Miss Ariana Grande. So I learned today that not only does she have a brother, but she's Italian. Was I supposed to know that? I've learned a lot about people, places, and things, all by watching Drag Race. So I think it's an educational show that should be shared. Lucy's the first one to do an interview, and I think overall she did really well. I feel like Lucy does serve like that Joan Rivers like talk show host whole shtick well. So I think overall it was super good. She asked good questions. She was able to like connect with Frankie. I think Frankie, like being the Frankie group, did have an advantage because he was like the least like LOL random, unpredictable. He was just kind of like a dude. Um, so I think that was like an advantage to have like a coherent interview. There were a few things during like Lucy's interview that just made me laugh. Like Frankie's explaining how he did like volunteer work in like South Africa. And I don't know if like it could just be editing, but like Lucy's eyes when he says South Africa, Lucy goes like this. Like what's wrong with South Africa? It was so weird. She looked like he said he was doing it on the moon or like in the trenches of like a war-torn, I don't know. Like it was just hilarious to me. And then Frankie talks about how he got like sucked off by a spider or something, and then like a medicine man, a medicine man sucked him off with a spider. I forget. But it was like Charlotte from Charlotte's Web or something, and then his leg exploded. Crazy, crazy. So I think Lucy had the best interview, and like during the end, I was like, I feel like Frankie wants to take Lucy to Pound Town. I don't know, there was something there. Review that interview. See what I mean. Next is Anitra. Everyone was like, oh, Anitra's so like demure and shy. She's gonna do a terrible job. And I was like, that's hilarious that you think that. You don't know her like I do, so like I understand that she was gonna do a great job, and I knew that, and it's like embarrassing that you didn't. Please return my calls, Anitra. But anyway, she does an interview where they just kind of like walk and talk. It was fine. It was fine. She was funny. She had good energy. And then like, there was one question that made me laugh. It was like, I think Anitra asked Frankie like, "Oh, when did you come out?" And it just cuts to him, and he's dressed in like every animal print ever, and he's holding his hands like this. And I was like, I think maybe he came out when he came out of the womb. Can I say that? I don't know. But it was just hilarious. And then finally, Malaysia's cooking with Frankie. Hopefully no more scat content. No, there isn't. But Malaysia, Malaysia seems to forget like she's in an interview, and then is like genuinely stressed about like how the pizza's gonna turn out. It seems like she's like actually cooking. And meanwhile, Frankie has adopted like this Italian accent. I have been transported to Italy. And Frankie just kind of like takes control of the show. Like Malaysia's not the interviewer anymore. Frankie is, and he has some good questions. It was fun, but it wasn't fun because of Malaysia, which, you know. And then Malaysia asks about like the health of Frankie's balls, and asks if they're spicy. And then Frankie does confirm that he has spicy Italian balls. I don't know what that means. Maybe he should see a doctor. That sounds like crabs. But, you know, you can get help with that. And that was kind of brave to share that on national television. And then finally, Mistress like says something about Malaysia's bob. How dare you? Right after Aditra invented the bob, you're gonna yell about Malaysia's bob? I loved it. She looked great in a bob, and everyone on that season should be wearing bobs. But Malaysia was like the clear loser of that group, even though overall I think the Frankie group was the best. But I also don't think they were the best necessarily because they were the strongest contestants. I just think Frankie was probably the easiest to work with. So those were some really weird choices. I think I would have liked to see like the 4 groups of 2 more. Because like I just don't feel like the comparisons across groups like as they were are very fair or good. I don't know. Moving on to the runway, nothing super notable happens as we watch the girls get ready, but there is a moment where like Sasha Colby basically accuses Beyonce of like stealing Sasha Fierce from like watching a Sasha show and being like, oh, I'm gonna take that. I believe it personally, but like, look out for the hive, is all I'm saying. We need to be careful this episode. This isn't the episode to be like throwing out conspiracy theories and accusations. I'd be walking on tiptoe, just trying to skirt by and serve Beyonce as best I can. I do not want to invoke the wrath of the hive. But really nothing else happens. So I'll just like jump into the runway looks. Lux goes first. Lux is always a slay. I really don't have any notes here. I don't know fashion things, but everyone keeps saying like, ooh, Bob Mackie. So I'm just like, that's probably like, I'm just going to be safe here and be like, that's really pretty. And I definitely understand why it's pretty. So no one ask me. I totally get it. I think I mostly just like seeing Lux like have a fantastic body, but people seem to really eat the outfit up. So I will also pretend like I loved it. Moving on to Mistress, she brought us to Puppet Town, baby. She had those little Destiny Child puppets up. She served glamour plus camp. The puppets both caused like a visceral fear response for me, while also being one of the most whimsical and fantastic things I've seen. I was super into it. Mistress's runway package is just one of the best. She hits like, she shows versatility, but there's still like, if you look at it all, there's like an overarching theme of like, I get who Mistress is. So I thought she served an amazing look, and she probably won't get attacked by the hive because like, it's beautiful, but also funny, and like, I think it did Beyonce justice. Appreciate it. Very much enjoyed it. And then Selena came out, and like, it was like a very normal outfit. I was like, oh, where's this been? She's holding like the little Rupaul heads. I forget what award that is. Sorry, everybody. But she looks really good. I kind of like, in Selena fashion, I was like, when's she gonna like lift up her shirt and show us like her little Cheeto? Oh, I love that Cheeto. But she doesn't. And then she just like looks kind of beautiful. And I was like, oh, okay. Good for you. Sasha's next. I don't think I'll ever have anything different to say week to week about Sasha, because like, again, it's just always correct, and that like, there becomes a point where it's not like, woo, I stand. I'm just like, have a flaw. Be nice to the rest of us. But she looks like probably better than ever. She's glistening, and she also looks like she could snap me in half, which I love. And then poor Marcia has to come out after Sasha. I don't know if hers was like super bad, but like the fact that it came after Sasha and you see that contrast, you're kind of like, uh-oh, stinky. And then like, you know, she had a bad interview, and I just don't think that's the kind of runway that like helps. And she also has like this fur, and she's like gripping onto it for dear life. I don't know what's going on there, but like, not her best showing. And then next is Anitra. She will take any opportunity to show that little butterfly tattoo. Would that be slay if I got that, or would that be like scary if I just got the same tattoo as Anitra? Let me know. Let me know in the comments whether or not I can copy everything Anitra does and not be called a stalker. But she's dressed as like royalty, as she should be. I would absolutely be one of her little serfs, or like a knight in her little royal kingdom. I don't know. I would do anything. I think she looks good, and that's all I have to say. So don't ask for anything more. Oh, and then Michelle at the end, she's like, all hail Queen Bee. And I was like, no, Michelle, that's a butterfly. What's wrong with you? And that's all I have to say. Who's next? Oh, Malaysia. I think she looks the best she ever has. I don't know. I think I just like seeing her in black and white, because she wore that last week and I was like, she's looked the best she ever has. And then she did it again. I'm like, oh my God. So I think I just like the way that looks. I don't know. I don't have any notes. I think she looked overall really good. And then Loosey walks out. I don't usually like the whole like, I don't know, the jacket look. But hers was so shiny, I couldn't help but like it. Like I said, I'm a simple man. I'm drawn to like shiny things. But then, like, I forgot this is the outfit where Beyonce had, like, the baby bump. And, like, I think Loosey tried to do that. Like, she starts holding herself down there. But she's holding herself, like, first of all, there's no visible bump. Second of all, she's, like, holding her crotch. And I'm like, is there a lump there? Like, I hope not. Like, why are you holding yourself there? That's not where a baby, like, where a baby would be. Loosey, if you do have a lump there, please see a doctor. You can go at the same time as Frankie Grande, 2-for-1 special, but, like, either get a baby bump or, like, don't do the baby bump look. You looked good, but I was just like, you got like 99% on the way there, and then I was like, be pregnant. So then afterwards, we start with the critiques. And then Nitra and Marsha are immediately safe. And I was shocked at both. I was like, shocked that Marsha wasn't in the bottom. And then, you know, Anitra's safe. So the dark thoughts start to come back. But I have therapy in 2 weeks. So I'll probably make it. But I don't know. The critiques for Lux. Rue said he loved the outfit. Something Bob Mackie. I think I have bad taste. So, like, don't listen to my opinions. I don't understand anything about fashion. And don't listen to me. Even though I put videos on the internet so people will listen to me. And then Rue calls Lux kiddo. And I'm like, uh-oh. Are we having another Georges moment where he's like, you were born to do drag, kid? Could be. But also, Lux, don't let Rue siphon off your youth. Run. But yeah, then we move on to Mistress. They talk about how Mistress's interview was bad, and I don't know. I think they liked her runway. Like, I think Mistress could have been the bottom, but then she had like the little puppets, and they were like, okay, fine, you get to continue on. But then Rue, there's this really weird moment. I feel like the camera, like, did they get a new cameraman, or like, are they trying something different this episode? But there's this moment where like, RuPaul's like complimenting Mistress's makeup, and the camera starts like slowly zooming in on her, and then like every time Rue mentions something else about Mistress's makeup, that like the camera gets closer, and at the end, the camera's like up her nose. Like, I can see every pore on her body. Like, drag queens are not meant to be viewed that closely. It was so weird. I don't think they've ever done that before, but like, Rue was saying all these nice things about Mistress while the camera's like slowly zooming in so you can see like the most minute imperfections, and I was like, get away. No shade to Mistress. I just, like, you're on a hot stage and like in 12 pounds of drag, like, let's keep the camera far away. I don't know. And they only did that for her. I think Mistress has a beautiful face. And then we get to Selena, and the first thing like Michelle says is like, oh my god, you're so pretty. And like Selena makes the sound like like she's like choking back a tear, like hearing Michelle say that she was pretty for probably the first time in the competition. So good for you, Selena. I'm glad you got to hear that. But then Selena, when they're talking about how she maybe didn't do well in the interview, commits the cardinal sin of like trying to explain herself. And then Rue patiently listens like he always does. He's like, And then at the end, Rue's like, okay, well, totally understand. Glad you get that you made a bunch of novice mistakes and you're garbage. Anyway, and then they just move on to Sasha after that. I have really nothing to say about Sasha. Like, no critiques. She did well. They talk about how she handled her interview. She looks gorgeous, so they can never clock her on that. Oh, but then Rue calls Sasha a kiddo, so I was like, maybe she's just like in her kiddo era. I don't know, because Sasha's not a kiddo. Lux is a kiddo. Sasha's not a kiddo. So maybe I read that wrong, but why are we out here calling everyone kiddo? If you follow Sugar and Spice on Twitter, again, they hate being called kids. And it sounds like Rue was maybe he must have been in his kiddo era, but they're popping off. They're popping off, they're angry. Rue, stop calling people kids. Malaysia, they say basically what everyone was thinking. She basically got interviewed and was not the interviewer. And there's a moment where like Malaysia's like, about to talk about her insecurities, and Rue's like, but then Malaysia just says like something boring, and then Rue's like, oh, well, okay, bye, you sucked. And then we get to Loosey, and like, she did great, and she got nothing but compliments, but she always just looks like she's so uncomfortable. She looks so uncomfortable. And it probably is uncomfortable standing there, but I think she just like, I don't know, she's tight, not loose. So then after the critiques, we get Sasha as the winner. It cuts to Loosey like immediately. I think they were hoping for like that Jan face crack moment, and ever since Jan has been a contestant, I think they always pick like one person to psychologically torture, and it is Loosey. And like I think we get so close. Like Loosey does look like she's about to commit a crime. Like they should have, I don't know, handed her a knife or something, because we got so close. But she didn't super face crack. She was very professional, and she just like walks away. I think Loosey deserved to win. I will say that, and I will stand behind that. Sasha was good. And maybe she got bonus points for having like a guest that was like a little harder to control. I could see that. But in terms of like the interview I enjoyed the most, I think it was Loosey's. I enjoyed Loosey's. I think she deserved to win. I do think her edit is now too far gone, and she gets the psychological torture edit, and they will continue to punish her until she either passes away or cracks. So let's see what happens next episode. And then they tell Mistress she's safe, and she literally goes like, so I don't think she agreed with the judging, but this is one of those times where it's like, I'll take it. Like, yeah, maybe you judged incorrectly and it benefits me. So she takes it, and it's Malaysia and Selena in the bottom. Which, Selena, you've been in the bottom quite a few times, but I think Selena's probably the stronger lip syncer. So we'll see. So then for the lip sync, we get Single Ladies by Miss Yonsei. And I'm so sick of queens immediately like beat one of the song, tearing off things that are hard to lip sync in. I get why you would want to remove those things, and I still think you should, but it should be like working up to it, you know, like slowly taking off a bracelet. But these queens are literally like, it looks like they're like trying to undress as fast as possible. We are ripping off clothes. And I would just like to see in a number, like have it incorporated, because I feel like that's so much energy for like the first part of the song that you can like only go down from there. And they do. I don't think it was a great lip sync overall, and I'll be honest, there's this moment, like Selena was wearing pretty big hair, and she's in her like alopecia era, and she literally just like removes a chunk, like a meaty chunk of hair, and she throws it on the ground. Like that was one of the things she decided to take off. And like for the rest of the lip sync, all I could look at was that hair on the ground. Like it was a big clump, and it looked like a dead poodle. And like I was just watching that dead poodle. And then it cut to like T.S. Madison, and she looked like she was gonna cry. And I don't know like what caused that, but she looked like she was in distress. Like it wasn't a great lip sync, but she looked like someone needs to help her. And then like, since I was so hyper fixated on the hair, there's this moment, like there's like a very slight cut, and then the hair goes from being like in the middle of the stage to the back. What happened? Who picked up the hair? Did someone kick it to the back? Like, did someone slip on it? What's the hair tea? Something dark happened there. I can sense it. I have a good sense for these things. And I need a queen to spill at Roscoe's. I need a queen to take 50 shots and tell me what I need to know about this hair. But you know, in the few times I was able to focus on the people actually lip syncing, I think Selena was winning. I could honestly see a double, like, get out of here. What's that called? Sashay away. And like at the end, Malaysia seems super tired. And like, I relate because I'm literally sitting in a chair just talking, and I'm like, But like she's visibly tired. So I think that did kind of like edge out a Selena win. And then they announced that Selena does indeed win. And she apologizes to Beyonce. She says, "Sorry, Beyonce," and like you can hear all like the hive just like lower their knives and be like, "Fine, everybody gets one." Um, and then Malaysia, like as she's saying goodbye, has like what does she say? I don't know. It's some line with like her. She pulls out an inhaler, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I was just kidding that you were like fighting for your life in that lip sync, but I was like, was she actually like? Could she breathe? Was she okay? Um, so I hopefully Malaysia's okay, and that didn't cause like too much stress for her body. I'm sad to see her go, but I think it was her time. Um, and then the episode ends with Lucy LaDuca getting eaten out by puppets. So, hey, I think that's all I got. If you want more, tell me, but I'll still do it even if you don't. I woke up this morning drenched in blood. I think it was a nosebleed, but I can't afford to go to a doctor and make sure. So if I do disappear, I either got bored or passed away. Thanks for watching.